Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and president of realestatecoach.com and Brokerage Up. And I am delighted to welcome James Rembert. He is, I heard him speak at Real Estate Connect and was blown away. The people were just flocking around him afterwards. He talked about Facebook and how to, generate leads from that. But he's currently working with over 200 teams. He has coaches with hundreds of people. So James, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And I loved the title of your session. It's WTF. And of course, it's not what you think, it's what the future. So before we kind of get started on that part of it, tell us a little bit about your business model. You've got Zillow killer, are you going after Zillow specifically, or is this kind of a bigger idea here that you have?
No, it's all about attention, but it's a 100-year plan. So this is all about holding the attention right now. I have no grievances with Zillow. I just understand where it's placed at.
So tell me, what is it that the people are listening, who are listening to this? What can they do to position themselves? So, one of the most common objections we hear is, well, Zillow says my house is worth more. So there's been this kind of clash in terms of the industry versus Zillow. But what can people do that Zillow can't do?
Well, one of the keys is, like I was telling you, our ROI concept and understanding that, when it comes to where the world is in reference to digital, relevancy and omnipresence is key. Being relevant and being able to position yourself where you're in front of the right person, right time, with the right mindset. But the thing that these syndicated sites, and it doesn't matter, Zillow, Realtor.com, Zuli, Trulia, it's irrelevant to the platform. The one thing that these platforms can't do is they can't create intimacy. And if we're paying attention, every platform that exists uses our identity to create intimacy to the end consumer. They're just a brand. They're just housing just the information. But as an agent, the same rule applies when we meet a person. We have to be able to connect. We have to be able to create some type of bridge where we can make sense or work with them. We need to connect. We need to be able to resonate, and then we need to be able to build some level of intimacy. Well, that can be scaled digitally if we apply ourselves. And unfortunately, one of the easiest ways to create intimacy is video. But we fear video because of whatever reason. I mean, I tell people all the time, the fear of video is weird to me because the client is going to see you eventually.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, and you talked about this idea of intimacy. Well, you're not going to be intimate if you're pretending to be something you're not. You're not going to build a genuine connection based upon who you are. Now, you talked about how does Zillow, the portals essentially can be relevant, but they can't be intimate. How do I go about building my identity in such a way that I can compete against them? Do I have to go hyper local? What do I need to do?
Well, we talked about, when I just said video, understanding video is essential to your business. Before you go and spend money, the very first thing you have to do is build an audience of somebody that's willing to listen to you. So, I mean, a lot of people attach me to Facebook ads, but Facebook ads is just distribution. What's amazing about where we are today is all the channels that give you the ability to communicate or to engage with someone that's new are free. And when we talk about video, having things that's relevant to say, knowing your market, but before you get caught up in that, who are you? Be willing to share something that's more connected to you beyond the market. You can't sell me anything until I know who you are. And we have a way of getting in front of the camera, and now we become realtor or real estate agent. That shit is not a title. It's just that's not who you are. It's just a title. Who are you as a person? And if we can create that type of we remove the camouflage and be a real person and humanize the process, that's the starting point before you spend a dime into YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok is becoming available, LinkedIn. You need to be able to humanize who you are first and foremost, because our business is a belly-to-belly based business. That's just what it is. Just because it's digital, we don't remove the human element. But We have an amazing way of doing that every time. So our nurture process when we meet new people are longer.
So say that, okay, on my business plan for 2020, okay, I'm going to do the deep dive. I'm going to get into video and I haven't done it before. Where do I start?
Well, the easiest channel is Facebook. Any channel that gives a live component like Facebook and YouTube are very easy. But most of your audience that are, you want to say, more soft or more warmer is going to be on Facebook. And using live, using production, you can get people to listen to you a lot faster on Facebook. And then you have cool tools and tech that's in Facebook that let you build audience based off engagement, watch time, percentage watch time. It's not just I put it out there just for vanity's sake. There are strategies behind producing content, but producing content first, you have to know who you're talking to and what you're talking about. And a lot of times we are more focused on I want to sell the house. If we price it right, the house will sell. I mean, price rules. So it's not about selling the house. We have to be able to sell ourselves. But selling ourselves turns into more of a bullshit play where I'd rather just know who you are as a person and see if I even like you or not.
Well, it comes all back to that personal connection. So where would I start? I mean, I'm okay. You told me I can do Facebook Live or Instagram stories, but okay, what kind of videos do I need to shoot? How long? I mean, are they short? Do I want longer form?
Yeah.
Do I set up a Facebook business page? What's your recommendation on that?
You definitely need to have a Facebook business page, and doesn't matter if you personalize it, you turn it to a community page. You just need to be able to create an interesting character on that page. So the page needs to have your face. When you start to produce video, you need to be at least, if at the bare minimum you want to be the professional, give them a market update. Tell them what's happening in the market if you want to be that agent. But as you start to move throughout producing content, what are things that you're interested in? Because there's only two reasons why people ever buy. It's emotion and agreed upon value. And if I can show that my interest aligns with your interest, our conversation is much easier. Now we're starting to create some level of congruency. And that's the problem that we run into, or people run into when they start to pay money. The congruency between their distribution of what they're putting out and how people responding to them is off. So business page, start out with giving some, if you want to give some professional level information, give them a market update. Go to your MLS, print it out, read it to them. Get used to getting in front of the camera. The key is to create a level of consistency where every, first of the week you're doing it. Every, twice a week you're doing that. Now we start to hit the community and we start to share information about the community. Let's talk about the lifestyle. Let's talk about things that will be more that I can identify to, where I've actually been here. I've lived here. I've been a part of the community. Let's start to tie in some story formats where it's not about me just giving education. Well, we can start videos off in the same fashion of, let me tell you a story. I was here about 5 years ago, and, we keep it very casual, very direct, and we humanize the process where a person don't have to figure out what we're talking about or try and feel as though we're being sold to. It's like a casual conversation. And the power with Facebook now is it's really chasing engagement more than anything. Like just producing content for content's sake is a waste of time. Like I said, the strategy is to get people talking back to you. So ask questions, engage with the camera, engage with who you think are listening to you. I built my entire business based off of, one, I started out with the assumption, and when I started to produce video, I began to attract my ideal client. And the amazing part about it is the person that I thought was my client wasn't.
Oh, tell me more about that. So, what were you expecting versus what showed up? Because that's, and I think you just hit on something that my husband has a phrase. He's been a business coach for like over 25 years before it became fashionable. But this notion of, he says, slain by an expectation. And sometimes we expect things to work a certain way, and then we get stuck there when they don't. So how did you handle that?
Well, I mean, when I started selling when I was selling real estate,
Uh-huh.
real estate. But when I saw real estate, when I came to South Jersey, in my mind, I was going to dominate the Black community. That's how I see it. That's how I viewed it. At the bare minimum, I figured because I was Black, people would work with me. And that wasn't the case. And it wasn't that they didn't work with me. They didn't know who I was. And when I started to put myself out there on video, I began to attract this small tribe of moms out in Cherry Hill East and Cherry Hill West. And my first year was horrible. Going into my second year, I got a coach and then started doing videos. And as I moved into my second year, as the second year started to pick up, business picked up. And I was about 14, 15 transactions in, when I kept hearing everybody that I came in contact with was like, hey, I got your information from the Moms Club. And my question was, what is the Moms Club? Like, after a while, it's like, what is the Moms Club? And lo and behold, when I asked that particular client that question, she was like, it's Moms Club of Cherry Hill East and Cherry Hill West. We love your videos, and it's over 30,000 women circulating your videos. That's how we're coming in contact with you. So it just, from me putting myself out there, perpetuated a circulation of me attracting my ideal client. That was polar opposite of who I was.
So, yeah, I trained as a business coach back in 1997, 98. And they like to say you attract who you are. So what was it about you that attracted the moms from Cherry Creek East and West?
Cherry Hill.
Sorry, I interviewed somebody yesterday who was with Cherry Creek Mortgage. So
no.
I got my hills and my creeks messed up. So
this thing was, they seen I was comfortable being me. It wasn't no mystery. Like, I was me. I wasn't trying to perform, and I was sharing information that was relevant in reference to what was happening in the community. So they seen me being they were already attached to the community, and they wanted somebody that was connected to the community. The ethnicity didn't matter. I tell everybody all the time, when you provide value, the world no longer sees color or gender. It doesn't matter. And that's what they started to see, the value I provided, the authenticity that I provided it with. And I was really trying to provide value, give. I was really trying to help. I was really trying to be of service. And it was, it's like energy. Energy can't be created nor destroyed, just transferred. So, I mean, if you go off and come at people with this, this bullshit energy or this toxic energy, people can sense that. And they sense that, you know what, James he seems harmless. Like, what, I like how he's moving. And I kept it entertaining. When you can entertain, you can educate. So I was me. I played on camera. I wasn't always talking about the house. I talked about things that was relevant to Cherry Hill in reference to, it was some blocks where there's a block that has maybe like 50 lotus blossoms, where it was like, it just floods the street. I just thought it was fascinating. I'm my degree is in visual communications, and I'm minored in fine art. So aesthetically in houses I looked at things like that, where red doors and, little details. I would just talk about what I thought was relevant, and what I thought was relevant became relevant to other people. And because I kept the conversation consistent about the market. Now, the amazing part, I talked about the market because that was my way of learning the market. I didn't know the market in depth. I learned it. I seen things that was relevant to me, and I recorded it almost like to document the process. But I gave them me in that process, and it began to resonate. And, the key with video is there are strategies behind video, where video, when you do video, you always want to think in story format. It's just easier. The brain has two ways of viewing information, where you have cognitive ease and cognitive strain. If I can keep you in that place of cognitive ease, I can resonate. And if I resonate, then you're willing to listen to what I have to say, and then I can influence. And once we hit influence, money is a byproduct.
Now, I want to circle back to a couple things. First of all, you mentioned that people realize, you have a different mindset, and you were telling me before we jumped up here for the actual show, you were saying that you run a boot camp, and what happens to all those funds from your boot camp?
Oh, we donate all that to children's charities. So I really run it for my coaching students. Like I said, I coach over 500 coaching students and counting right now. And you spend an entire week with me, where it's just a great way where my coaching students can interact with me whenever. But quarterly, we get together as an entire group and we spend 5 nights from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and we rip through campaigns and strategies and mindset and business growth. And then I open up to the public for about 50 people. But all of the money and the proceeds that come from the public that invest, I donate that to children's charity because our kids are our future. So, you know, I'm pretty good with my agency. That's why I make my money, you know. So I don't think the industry needs to always be taxed for help. And that's the biggest problem with, that's why when people mention the terminology coaching, there are two ways that coaching turns into. It turns into, I'm gonna talk to you once a month, or I'm gonna give you a bunch of videos. And I think both of those ways are problematic for a person that's really trying to learn. If I'm really trying to grow my business, time is our most valuable commodity. I have to wait an entire month to talk to you again. Like, it just makes no sense. So the way we coach is completely different. My coaching students have access to me every day, any day, outside of, if I'm busy, then I'm busy. But if we need to get on the phone, we need to do a video chat, and anybody that coaches me can attest to that type of process. But we open it up to the public because that's the cheapest. With the bootcamp, we open it to the public because that's the cheapest way to work with me. And it gives people a glimpse on what's really out there. And it's a great way for me to help our kids out at the same time. So it's not about money for me, but if I say come for free, that's the easy way to come waste. That's a cold word, come waste my time. So we got to tax you a little bit. But if you pay, you'll pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, as it should be, because otherwise you don't have an even exchange of services. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. I want to come back around now to something that you talked about as the conversation rule. Could you explain what that is and how it applies to someone who's getting started in video or starting to build their presence on Facebook using video, or YouTube, or one of the other social media channels?
Well, the first thing is if you pay attention to most channels that are succeeding, you can kind of see that person in the video. Like, there's no performance. It's not like if that's him or that's her. Those that are really resonating. When you start to produce video, you want to have almost like a casual conversation to your audience, the same way you would have if you met somebody outside. You're not going to, just randomly talk to people. But if you do, the conversation can only live if that person responds back to you. So again, creating that engagement in reference to your videos and asking questions is super, super important. But position your videos with just a nice casual conversation. Our friend Greg is himself. There is no mystery. There is no surprise. Greg keeps it very casual. He keeps his conversations very casual, but he handles his business and he talks about multiple topics. The same rule applies, especially, when it comes to video, because you can't always get a response immediately. But run out in the street and talk to somebody, and if they don't want to talk to you, they're gonna walk off, right? There's no conversation. But if they stop and then you guys get into something where there is something you guys can agree upon, now you have a really good conversation. And now you got something to kind of leave behind in reference to, wow, that was a really good person. That was a really good conversation. The same rules are with video. It's just you're trying to figure out what they're going to engage with. But if you actually listen after you put a video out and watch the engagement, you can navigate where those conversations should go. Again, who knew? I was focused on the Black community, but me putting myself out there, I ended up attracting a community or a group of women that 98% of the women in the group weren't Black at all.
It's amazing sometimes how things work out. The slain by an expectation. This case is a wonderful discovery. When you started doing your videos, how long did you make them? Were they, all kind of different lengths?
Yeah, they were shorter then, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. I mean, they were super long, but right now, strategically, if you're going to use Facebook as your channel, the algorithms pick up after 3 minutes. So that's when things start to optimize for you. 3 minutes is about the watch time that they give, where you can start to really connect. Now, will people watch the whole 3 minutes every time? Probably not, because you haven't tapped into anything relevant yet. But if you're talking something relevant, they'll watch. Even if you go live, you can do your lives up to 40. hour. I mean, you'd be surprised at the people that would stick around, where you start to create this remnant of people that's willing to hear what you have to say. That is audience building. Same rules. I mean, it's video is just conversational scale when you put it in perspective. It's not one-on-one, but one to many.
So, so today you would suggest do some longer form. Do you suggest that they also do shorter form? You know, maybe the 2 to 3 minute.
I say preference. It doesn't matter, short or long. Just keep it over 3 minutes.
Has to be over 3 minutes on Facebook. And I know if you mentioned TikTok over there, it's like 15 to 60 seconds, whole different breed of cat.
TikTok, a whole nother monster. If you won't do video, you're definitely not going to do TikTok.
Well, TikTok is, I talked to a woman who's gotten up to 3.5 million page views in less than 60 days. A couple of days ago, Greg introduced me, and it was phenomenal what she's doing. One of the things you've mentioned repeatedly is engagement. There's been a big change at Facebook that I don't think people are aware of. Could you say a little bit more on how that ties into engagement?
Oh, yeah. Facebook is at a place where it's transitioning to a video streaming network, where it's really trying to compete with channels like YouTube. The difference is YouTube is video streaming, but its dominant source is search, where Facebook is creating almost like shows. So there are shows. I mean, I mentioned to you earlier, one of the biggest shows pretty much on the planet right now is Red Table Talk with Jada Smith. You know, 20, 30, 40, 50 million views she's getting on her show. And there's a large part of the population that don't even know it exists. But these streaming channels, which is where everything is moving towards, are dominating at a level where you don't need to have some big production and this whole grand stage. You have the tools and access to create that same level of distribution for free, absolutely for free. Now, yeah, you can get your camera work and, you know, the back end better, but distribution, that same distribution that Jada Smith has, we have as well right here. And it's absolutely, Facebook charges us nothing for that and will reward us the more we can get people to engage with our pages.
Well, James, this has been fascinating. Do you have a final takeaway for the people listening in today?
I say get more comfortable with being you. We're so focused on trying to fit in. And unfortunately, our industry only requires you to take 2 weeks of training to get in. So the barrier to enter is so low, it's getting flooded with people. And the more people that come in, the more they try to adapt to what they think is the industry. I'm suggesting you be memorable. Stop trying to fit in. That's more important. If you be memorable, anybody that comes into the industry can't compete with you. And yes, you know, a lot of us have referral-based businesses, but referral-based business isn't a strategy. Start to operate and market into 2020, because the tools and the techniques and the tech that's available is absolutely free. And we're going to be pissed as hell when they start charging us. So let's use it for free. Let's grow our businesses. And all I'm saying is to put yourself out there.
Do you think Facebook, you've referenced that they may, are you suggesting they may start charging for what they're doing?
I never know. I mean, they can, you know, you just absolutely never know how these platforms make these decisions. I mean, they're literally small digital planets. I mean, where they have billions of users, you know what I mean? So you just never know, but I would rather be on the front end of building out my audience and getting in front of people while it's free and leveraging the free platform while it's there. And then if that happens, that's perfectly okay. I've set myself up where I think I've either built enough revenue, built enough attention, or built enough engagement that I can take my people wherever I want them to go.
And James, if anybody wants to contact you about your coaching services, where should they go?
If you look up, well, coaching is invite only, but if you look up Zillow Killer or my name, jamesrembert.com, you can find the boot camps. That's the first way to start engaging with me. And like I said, anybody that joins the boot camp, we donate that money to children's charity. It doesn't go in my pocket. It goes to a great cause. It's very cost effective if you're serious about it, or you can join one of the free groups and we can engage. But I move at the speed of implementation, and those are the people I try and keep around me. It's not about the lip service, it's about the doing.
And James, this has been an absolutely fantastic interview. Thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to be with us today. And I look forward, hopefully, to having you back. I mean, I'm just amazed at what you're doing, and also your heart and your give back is, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being with us today.
You got it.